Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.
Okay. So we're gonna laugh, we're gonna cry. Can I make more coffee? If we're gonna have the best conversation ever, I think I need to be prepared. I can still hear you though. I mean, I can remember the first time I think when you think about a question like that, so many things come up. My mother used to have a dark room in the basement. And so I remember being a kid, like 5 years old, and my two sisters and I, my youngest was not yet born. We would sit on these stools. It was like an old basement bar that had been converted into a dark room, and she would develop photos. And sometimes she would let us, take the tongs and move the old film paper from one bath to another, and then also home movies and stuff. And it was really a family event. And it's not that my mother was such a talented photographer. I don't think she had anything, in the way of true artistic skills, but she was fascinated by it, and so we became fascinated by it. And so when I think of photography, you and I are of the age that we actually had to develop photographs. Um, I remember getting my first digital camera in 1997 in Hong Kong. But there was a whole magic to it, that things that happen in real life could be captured and somehow brought to have their own second life. And so there's the process of it, and then there's the I guess the delight of being able to store a memory in physical form.
Aaron Landis.
Yes, that's me.
Thank you. That's it. That was great. Everybody answers differently. Everybody has different connections to that question.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally remember that feeling of developing, the photos, the chemicals and everything. Hey, that was really nice. Thank you.
Well, thank you. She used to take home movies too, and it was
Nice.
they had no sound. It was before camcorders even. I'm dating myself here. And then what would happen is we had an old film projector in the house, and she would gather us around and she would play these films. But since they didn't have any sound, she would narrate.
Oh,
Yeah, and so she would, sort of. It was a lot of
that's
smiling and
sweet.
waving. There wasn't a whole lot going on.
So when I was a kid, the big thing for us was like, Daddy, play it backwards. So then when he'd play it backwards and the whole world would go backwards, that would make us giggle like
Funny.
freaks, right?
Funny.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of photos in the backyard. We had ducks growing up.
Nice. Oh, wow. So where did you grow up?
It was the suburbs of St. Louis. It's not a place to have
St.
ducks.
Louis. Okay. Well, okay. So just to anchor. So first of all, Aaron Landis, thanks for coming on the show. Thanks on the podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
We met years ago
Do you remember where?
on Staunton Street at
No.
what's it?
No, we hung out there. That's not where we met.
Okay. Oh, no, so I don't remember. Tell me.
We met in a Subway sandwich shop in kind of Shungwan. If you walk
Okay.
up from, I guess from Queens Road,
Yeah.
if you walk up, it's a bit west of where the escalator is. I can't remember the name of the building, but it's a big gleaming, Hong Kong skyscraper, and it has its own escalator. It's not the escalator, but it has its own escalator to get into the entrance. And I was coming back from, I don't know when. I remember it was a sweaty day. I was running around. And
That's Hong Kong.
It's Hong Kong, yeah. And I took refuge in the subway because, I don't know, there was something like comfort foody about it. It felt familiar. I remember I was having a rough day of some sort. And then you started the conversation.
Yeah, I'm Mr. Friendly. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not.
Consistent.
Like I unless I have a reason to start a conversation with a stranger.
You're like, leave me alone. I'm trying to eat a fucking sandwich.
No, that wasn't my response at all. I mean, I might have thought you were hitting on me or something. That happens, usually one strange man. But I immediately recognized that you're Israeli, and of
Yeah.
course, I spent now I'm an Israeli citizen, but at the time it was just a memory. My family used to
Hmm.
spend time in Israel as a kid. So I immediately recognized that. And of course, there's the global Jewish kinship. And so I
Right.
was,
Right.
that made me be much more friendly. But I remember thinking about it. I was like, wow, that guy he was so friendly with no agenda. Like he was just being friendly. That's so odd because I don't operate that way. Um,
So yeah, I was planning about like 10 plus years ago I was just laying the groundwork way back when to have you on the podcast.
there you go.
You see, thinking
Good
way ahead.
tell. That's impressive. What year was that, Ron? It was
uh,
it was maybe 2000. I think I was already living in Shanghai at that time, but I was back visiting.
I only moved to Hong Kong in 2003, 2004.
Okay, so
So
I was
yeah.
definitely living in Shanghai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, Aaron, let's go into the first photo because you'll see because there's actually very little time, and I want to share with the world, and we're going to learn and share who you are through your
Okay.
photos.
Yeah.
What the reason why I asked you, and it's taken a long time to get us together for the podcast.
Uh-huh.
You're in Israel at the moment,
Yes.
because you're one of these people you have this kernel, this germ, this thing inside you as an entrepreneur that I want to share with the world because I find that very inspiring.
Sure. But I'm gonna immediately correct you in your
Please
terminology.
do.
I don't
Please do.
I don't I don't conceive of myself as an entrepreneur at all these days.
Okay.
Even though I do things that are, maybe unconventional and some of them relate to business. Um, I don't know, recall who it was, but somebody famous noted that the term entrepreneur really ought to mean somebody who creates markets and who creates job opportunities for others.
Okay.
An entrepreneur by definition is somebody who wants to scale. And maybe there was a time when I kind of fit that definition. I had a company in Shanghai that was maybe 40 or 50 people and two businesses there. And it was about growth and it was about the fundamentals of business. Now I'm happily self-employed. The last thing I want in the world is an employee.
Right.
Like I don't want to scale. I don't want to make more problems for myself. So you see people, I mean, especially now, the young generation, the Gen Zs, you look on people's Instagram profile and everybody's an entrepreneur. And you say,
Right.
oh, what's the
Right.
business you do? I mean, do you have a mobile app that's just had its, 5 millionth download? I mean, have you raised your Series A round and what kind of entrepreneur you're? And then it turns out, they're self-employed basically.
Right.
Nothing wrong
Right.
with that. I mean, I'm
Nope.
happily self-employed.
So is life really a gift? Really? Can you make every second count? That's the whole point of the podcast. So if you like what you've seen and you're inspired, because that really is my mission, then please give it a like, subscribe, and share.
Shooting it raw?
Yes. Shooting it raw.